When the bell has finished, I descended the stairs, a brief waif in the eye of glass that hangs on the downstairs wall. The clock ticks with its pendulum, keeping time. My feet in their neat red shoes count the way. The sitting room door is wide open. I go in. So far, no one else is here. I don't sit, but I take my place, kneeling near the chair with the footstool where Serena Joy will shortly enthrone herself, leaning on her cane while she lowers herself down. Possibly she'll put a hand on my shoulder to steady herself, as if I'm a piece of furniture. She's done it before. The sitting room would have once been called a drawing room, perhaps then a living room, or maybe its parlor, the kind with spiders and flies. But now it's officially a sitting room because that's what I've done in it. By some, that's what's done in it. For others, there's standing room only. The posture of the body is important here and now. Minor discomforts are instructive. The sitting room is subdued, symmetrical. It is one of the shape money takes when it freezes. Money has trickled through this room for years and years, as if through an underground cavern, crusting and hardening like stalactites into these forms. Mutely, the varied surfaces present themselves in the dusk rose velvet of the drawn drapes. The gloss of a matching chair, 18th century, the cow's tongue hush of tufted Chinese rug on the floor, with its peach pink peonies, the suave leather of the commander's chair, the glint of a brass on the box beside it. The rug is authentic. Some things in this room are authentic, some are not. For instance, two paintings, both of women, one on either side of the fireplace. Both wear dark dresses like the ones in the old church through a later date. The paintings are possibly authentic. I suspect that when Serena Joy acquired them, after it became obvious to her that she had to redirect her energies into something convincingly domestic, she had the intention of passing them off as ancestors. Or maybe they were in the house when the commander bought it. There is no way of knowing such things. In any case, they hang there, their backs and mouths stiff, their breasts constricted, their faces pinched, their caps starched, their skin grayish white, guarding the room with their narrowed eyes. Between them, over the mantel, there's an oval mirror, flanked by two pairs of silver candlesticks, with a white china cupid centered between them, its arm around the neck of a lamb. The tastes of Serena Joy are a strange blend, hard lust for quality, soft sentimental cravings. There's a dried flower arrangement on either end of the mantelpiece, and a vase of real daffodils on the polished marquetry end table beside the sofa. The room smells of lemon oil, heavy cloth, fading daffodils. The leftover smells of cooking that had made their way from the kitchen or the dining room, and Serena Joy's perfume. Lily of the Valley. Perfume is a luxury. She must have some private source. I breathe it in, thinking I should appreciate it. It is the scent of pubescent girls, of the gifts young children used to give their mother for Mother's Day. The smell of white cotton socks and white cotton petticoats, of dusting powder, of the innocence of female flesh, not yet given in to the hairiness and the blood. It makes me feel slightly ill, as if I'm closed in a closed car on a hot, muggy day with an older woman wearing too much face powder. This is what the sitting room is like, despite its elegance. I would like to steal something from this room. I would like to take some small thing, the scrolled ashtray, the little silver pillbox from the mantel perhaps, or a dried flower, hide it in the folds of my dress or in my unzippered sleeve. Keep it there this evening till this evening is over. Secrete it in my room under the bed, or in a shoe, or in a slit in the hard petticoat faith cushion. Every once in a while, I would take it out and look at it. It would make me feel that I have power. But such a feeling would be an illusion, too risky. My hands stay where they are, folded in my lap, thighs together, heels tucked underneath me, pressing up against my body, head lowered. In my mouth there's a taste of toothpaste, fake mint, and plaster. I wait for the household to assemble. Household, that is what we are. The commander is the head of the household. The house is what he holds to have and to hold till death do us part. The hold of a ship, hollow. Cora comes in first, then Rita, wiping her hands on the apron. They, too, have been summoned by the bell. They resent it. They have other things to do, the dishes, for instance. But they had the need to be here. They all need to be here. The ceremony demands it. We are all obliged to sit through this one way or the other. Rita scowls at me before slipping in to stand behind me. It is my fault, this waste of her time. Not mine, but my body's, if there's a difference. Even the commander is subject to its whims. Nice walk-ins, nods to all three of us, looks around the room. He, too, takes his place behind me, standing. He's so close that the tip of his boot is touching my foot. Is this on purpose? Whether or not we are touching the two shapes of leather, I feel the softened shoe, blood flows into it. It grows warm. It becomes a skin. I move my foot slightly away. Wish he'd hurry up, says Cora. Hurry up and wait, says Nick. He laughs, moving his foot so it's touching mine again. No one can see beneath the folds of my outspread skirt. I shift. It's too warm in here. The smell of stale perfume makes me feel a little sick. I move my foot away. We hear Serena coming down the stairs along the hall, the muffled tap of her cane on the rug, the thud of the good foot. She hobbles through the doorway, glances at us, counting but not seeing. She nods at Nick, but says nothing. She is in one of her best dresses. Sky blue with embroidery in the white along the edges of the veil. Flowers and fretwork. Even at her age, she still feels the urge to wreathe herself in flowers. No use for you, I think at her. Face unmoving. You can't use them anymore. You're withered. The genital organs of plants. I read that somewhere once. She makes her way to the chair, and the footstool turns, lowers herself, lands ungracefully. She hoists her left foot onto the stool, fumbles in her sleeve pocket. I can hear the rustling, the click of her lighter. I smell the hot singe of the smoke. We breathe it in. Late as usual, she says. We don't answer. There's a clatter as she gropes on the lamp table, then a click, and the television set runs through its warm-up. A male choir with greenish-yellow skin. The color needs adjusting. They're singing, "Come to the church in Wildwood. Come, 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 come," sing the basses. Serena clicks the channel changer, waves, colored zigzag, garble of sound. It is the Montreal satellite station being blocked. There's a preacher, earnest with shining dark eyes, leaning towards a desk. These days, they look a lot like businessmen. Serena gives him a few seconds and clicks onward. Several blank channels, then the news. This is what she's been looking for. She leans back, inhales deeply. I, on the contrary, lean forward. A child being allowed up late with grown-ups. This is the only good thing about these evenings. The evenings of the ceremony. I'm allowed to watch the news. It seems to be an unspoken rule in this house. We always get her on time. He's always late. Serena always lets us watch the news. Such as it is, who knows if any of it's true? It could be old clips, it could be faked. But I watch anyway, hoping to be able to read beneath it. Any news now is better than none. First, the front lines. They are not lines, really. The war seems to be going on many places at once. Wooded hills seen from above. The trees a sickly yellow. I wish he'd fix the color. The Appalachian Highlands, says the voiceover, where the angels of the apocalypse, 4th Division, are smoking out a pocket of Baptist guerrillas with air support from the 21st Battalion of the Angels of Light. We are shown 2 helicopters, black ones with silver lining, painted on the sides, silver wings. Below them, a clump of trees exploded. Now a close shot of a prisoner with stubbled and dirty face, flanked by 2 angels in their neat black uniforms. The prisoner accepts a cigarette from one of the angels. It puts it awkwardly into his lips with its bound hands. He gives it a lopsided little grin. The announcer is saying something, but I don't hear it. I look into the man's eyes, trying to decide what he's thinking. He knows the camera is on him. It is the grin of a show of defiance. Or is it submission? Is he embarrassed of having been caught? They show us only victories, never feats. Who wants bad news? Possibly he's an actor. The anchorman comes on now. His manner is kindly, fatherly, and he gazes at us from the screen, looking on with his tan and his white hair, candid eyes, wise wrinkles around them, like everybody's ideal grandfather. What he's telling us, his smile, his level smile implies, is for our own good. Everything will be all right soon, I promise. There will be peace. You must trust. You must go to sleep like good little children. He tells us what we long to believe. He is very convincing. I struggle against him. He's like an old movie star. I tell myself with false teeth and a face job. At the same time, I sway towards him like one hypnotized. If only it were true. If only I could believe. Now he's telling us that an underground espionage ring has been cracked by a team of eyes, working with an inside informant. The ring has been smuggling precious national resources over the border into Canada. The anchorman comes on now. His manner is kindly, fatherly. He gazes out at us from the screen, looking with his tan and his white hair and candid eyes, wise wrinkles around them, like everybody's ideal grandfather. What he's telling us, his level smile implies, is for our own good. Everything will be all right soon, I promise. There will be peace. You must trust. You must go to sleep like good little children. 5 members of the heretical sects of Quakers have been arrested, he says, smiling blandly, and more arrests are anticipated. 2 of the Quakers appear on screen, a man and a woman. They look terrified, but they're trying to preserve some dignity in front of the camera. The man has a large dark mark on his forehead. The woman's veil has been torn off, and her hair falls in strands over her face. Both of them are about 50. Now we can see a city, again from the air. There used to be Detroit. Under the voice of the announcer, there's the thunk of artillery. From the skyline, columns of smoke ascend. Now we see resettlement of the children of Ham is continuing on schedule, says the reassuring pink face back to the on the screen. 3,000 have arrived this week in National Homeland 1, with another 2,000 in transit. How are they transporting that many people at once? Trains, buses? We are not shown any pictures of this. National Homeland is in North Dakota. Lord knows what they're supposed to do. Once they get there, farm is the theory. Serena Joy has had enough of the news. Impatiently, she clicks the button for station change. Comes up with aging bass baritone, his cheeks like emptied udders. Whispering hope is what he's singing. Serena turns him off. We wait. The clock in the hall ticks. Serena lights another cigarette. I get into the car. It's Saturday morning. It's September. We still have a car. Other people have tried to sell theirs. My name isn't Offred. I have another name which nobody uses now because it's forbidden. I tell myself it doesn't matter. Your name is like your telephone number. Useful only to others. But what I tell myself is wrong. It doesn't matter. I keep the knowledge of this name like something hidden, some treasure I'll come back to dig up one day. I think of this time as buried. This name has an aura around it like an amulet. Some charm that survived from an unimaginably distant past. I lie in my single bed at night with my eyes closed and the name floats there behind my eyes, not quite within reach, shining in the dark. She thought we were going on a picnic, and in fact there is a picnic basket on the back seat beside her with real food in it, hard-boiled eggs, thermos and all. We didn't want her to know where we were really going. We didn't want her to sell by mistake, reveal anything if we were stopped. We didn't want to lay upon her the burden of our truth. I wore my hiking boots. She had on her sneakers. The laces of the sneakers had designs of hearts on them, red, purple, pink, and yellow. It was warm for the time of year. The leaves were turning already, some of them blue. Luke drove. I sat beside him. The sun shone. The sky was blue. The houses we passed, them looking comforting and ordinary. Each house, as it was, left behind, vanishing to pass time, crumbling in an instant as though it had never been. Because I would never see it again, or so I thought then. We have almost nothing with us. We don't want to look as if we're going anywhere far or permanent. We have the forged passports, guaranteed, worth the price. We couldn't pay in money, of course, but we put it on the CompuCount. We used other things. Some jewelry that was my grandmother's, a stamp collection Luke inherited from his uncle. Such things can be exchanged for money in other countries. When we get to the border, we'll pretend we're just going over for a day trip. The fake visas are for a day. Before that, I'll give her a sleeping pill so she'll be asleep before we cross. That way she won't betray us. You cannot expect a child to lie convincingly. I don't want her to feel frightened, to feel the fear that is now tightening in my muscles, tensing my spine, pulling me so taut that I'm certain I would break if touched. Every spotlight is an ordeal. We'll spend the night in a hotel, or better, sleeping on the side of the road where there'll be no suspicious questions. We'll cross in the morning, drive over the bridge easily, just like driving to the supermarket. We turn onto the freeway, head north, flowing with not much traffic. Since the war started, gas is expensive and in short supply. Outside the city, we pass the first checkpoint. All they want is a look at the license. Luke does it well. The license matches the passport, for we thought of that. Back on the road, he squeezes my hand, glances over at me. "You're white as a sheet," he says. This is how I feel. White, thin, flat. I feel transparent. Surely they will be able to see through me. Worse, how will I be able to hold on to Luke, to her, when I'm so flat and so white? I feel as if there's not much left of me. They will slip through my arms as if I'm made of smoke, as if I'm a mirage, fading before our eyes. Don't think of it that way, Moira would say. Think that way and you'll make it happen. Cheer up, says Luke. He's driving a little too fast now. The adrenaline's gone to his head. Now he's singing. Oh, what a beautiful morning, he sings. Even if his singing worries me, we've been warned not to look too happy. The end of chapter 6 of The Handmaid's Tale. Thank you for listening. See Siren ASMR. Sweet dreams.